Welcome to T
and E
with the T. I'm your host, Teresa.
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
And today we're talking about part 3 of the Diddy case. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. This episode contains discussion of sensitive topics that may be distressing for some audiences. Please take care while listening, and if these topics are triggering for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. I wanted to talk about the deaths that are connected to Diddy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I found a few things that I thought that could be interesting to talk about, and this is all alleged. This is not confirmed or anything like that. So I don't want to be sued or come after because this is just my opinion, But there's a lot of things that kind of happen around Diddy, and it seems like it's a connection to Diddy, allegedly. But I don't know if you remember back when part 1, when we talked about his record label.
Yeah.
Bad Boy Entertainment.
Yeah.
And he had Biggie in it. And Notorious
Biggie.
B.I.G.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was in it. He was in the entertainment or the record label. And he was one of the ones that got really popular out of his label. And he got super big to the point where now he was competing. So he was from the east side.
Yeah.
So we're on the east side, right?
So
He
New
was from
York
New
and
York.
all that stuff. Yeah.
He was from New York. So he got so big to the point where he's competing with the west side now. So we'll get all into that. And then he ends up competing with Tupac, because Tupac is from the west side, from California.
Oh, okay.
So they ended up butting heads, and a lot of things happened to where they both ended up getting murdered. And
Tupac
allegedly,
and Diddy?
Tupac and Biggie.
Biggie.
Yeah. Tupac and Biggie ended up getting murdered. And allegedly, Diddy was involved. Allegedly. And there's a lot of things there's people that came out. Gene Deal specifically. He was the bodyguard of Diddy. He speaks about it, and he was like, yeah, I believe that it was Diddy's fault. For the reason, or for the murders of Biggie and Tupac. There was also other things going that happened early in Diddy's career, where he kind of was involved in a murder scene in a way. This is where he had done an event in a college, and about a few people had passed away because of that event.
Wow.
He was the creator of the event.
He hosted it.
So, and at that time, he was not Diddy. Nobody really knew who he was until later on. That was way before, or not way before, but that was like a year before he started his record label, Bad Boy Entertainment.
That was how long, you said? Sorry.
A year before.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. I just wanted to give you a summary on what we're going to talk about and what is all going to be involved in part 3. This one I'm really excited about because I went deep into everything and I researched so much. So I'm really excited, but I'm going to start off with Biggie. So the Notorious B.I.G. Well, there was this song that Diddy had wrote, and it's called I'll Be Missing You. This was a little bit later after Biggie passed away. And the lyrics say, it's just hard to keep going. It's like I feel empty inside without you being here. I would do anything, man, to bring you back. I'd give all of this shit up. This shit does not mean nothing. I saw your son today. He looked just like you. You was the greatest. You'll always be the greatest. I miss you, B.I.G. So that's one of the popular songs. I don't know if you ever heard it, but it's I'll Be Missing You. And it's a really big song for, like, if anybody has lost anyone that in their lives and stuff like that. So this song was written for Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy wrote this song for Biggie
Mm-hmm.
because of his passing. It's crazy that he wrote this song for him and allegedly he could have been involved in his murder, right?
Oh my.
So Notorious B.I.G. and, like I said, Tupac were involved in this like kind of competition.
Like a rap battle kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, from the east side to the west side. So it was like east versus west. That was like the biggest thing
I think
back in the
I think I've
90s.
heard of them. Like supposedly, like the West Side makes a song, and then the East Side makes a song to counter that song, and then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just go back and forth like
That's
a little battle.
exactly. So that's literally what was going on with Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. Now, Tupac was friends with Notorious B.I.G., but it ended up turning around very quickly, and we'll get to that. Tupac was signed by this man named Atron Gregory. So he was signed by him. Tupac grew up in a very poor community. He was not he was not like anybody. Like he wanted to become someone in the world. He wanted to help the world. He wanted people to basically what's the word? He wanted them to open their eyes. Like see what's happening in the world, like what they're doing to us. He kind of went against the government and he always talked about politics, like anything with that. Like it was just to him it felt like it was a scam. So that was his basically his music, and that's what he preached. He was in California. He was signed by this man, right? Mr. Gregory. And then Biggie was signed by Bad Boy Entertainment. Bad Boy Entertainment is Diddy's record label.
Mm-hmm.
They met through a drug dealer, Tupac and Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they met. So they ended up, getting invited to a party at the same time. And Tupac gifted Biggie a bottle of Hennessy. I don't know how much is this true. This is a legend. This is what I heard when I was doing research. That's what went down at the party. This is all legend. I'm not 100% sure if that is true, but they did meet through a drug dealer at a party.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, Tupac, really liked Biggie, and he had asked Biggie to join his group back in the days. So Tupac had a group back in his record label or wherever he was signed.
Mm-hmm.
And in this group, this is where he would they were kind of like a I don't want to say boy band, but it was kind of like a boy band. They joined together, they made music together, and then they would do like their own
Like a
things.
crew kind of.
Yeah, it was like a crew. Yeah,
Yeah, boy
that's
band
better.
doesn't
That's
sound
probably
too.
better.
They're a
A
little
crew.
crew. Yeah.
Yes. So they were in, this crew, and he invited Biggie to join. Tupac
Yeah.
invited Biggie to join this group, but Biggie turned it down, and he ended up sticking with his own group in New York. So in 1994, the friendship started dying down between Tupac and Biggie. They started to lose their friendship because of other involvements. They didn't see each other the same anymore. There was a situation that happened, and I'm going to explain this. So I'm going to paint you a picture. But basically, this situation, it happened with Tupac. So Tupac had went to record a song. That's kind of how it was insinuated by this man named Jimmy. So he goes and he gets trapped by two men that work with Jimmy. And it becomes like the situation where they ended up pulling out guns, and it was Tupac. They were at the elevator, so they come in, and everything was fine. And then they go to the elevator. These two men looked suspicious to them, and they didn't think anything of it. They just kept walking. Tupac and his crew, and they kept going, and they got to the elevator, and right when they're waiting for the elevator, that's when the two guys, come out and pull out the guns and tell them to get down. So they all get down besides Tupac. Tupac stays up, but he stays up in shock. Not because he's trying to be like tough, but he's like in shock. So he's standing there, and allegedly he's trying to tell them like, hey, let's calm down, like what do you guys want, blah blah blah. And then they ask for his jewelry and he's like, no, I'm not gonna give you my jewelry, that's mine. The guys end up just shooting him. Dang. And everybody starts freaking out, right?
All so, for jewelry.
Well, yeah, so like allegedly they were gonna rob him. That was the point of the reason why they were doing all of this. Supposedly, Diddy and Biggie were the ones that knew about the situation, knew that Tupac was going to get shot, or that he was going to be in this altercation with these men. Allegedly, obviously.
They knew?
Allegedly. They knew. So, like I said, the first story, that's what happened. You know, they tried to take his jewelry. He says no, and then they end up shooting him, right? The second story is that Tupac was actually strapped with the firearm, and he went to reach it, and that's when they went to shoot him. So it's like
that sounds a little bit more believable, though.
Yeah, I mean, the point was, the reason why they wanted to rob him is because there was some money involved in this situation, and they wanted to like kind of scare him for some reason. He was asking for money from Jimmy, and Jimmy was like, "I don't have the money yet." He's like, "What are you doing?" Like it was like that type of thing, right? And so they kind of wanted to scare him and take his jewelry away and rob him. Allegedly. To compensate. But yeah, so there's just two stories that, I mean, we're not 100% sure which one it is, but those are the two stories, right? So he was shot at least 4 times, two in the head, but it failed to go into his skull. One in the hand and one in his groin. And
that makes sense, because if they shot at his groin, maybe to stop him from getting his gun, and shot his hand too.
That's what I'm saying. So there's two stories, so we're not 100% sure like which one it would be, but that would make sense.
The head one, because they literally, if you shoot somebody in the head,
and
you're
they
trying to
shoot
take
him
them
in the
out.
hand too.
Yeah.
So like maybe he tried to reach, and then that's when they hit the hand and the groin. When he tried to reach his firearm, I don't know. Yeah. You know, Tupac writes a song that basically talks about this day.
Wait, so he didn't die? Tupac didn't die that day?
No. Oh. So I'm gonna get to it, but I do want to get to this point. So Tupac, because it talks about that day. So Tupac talks about this day in a song, and it says, "I think is trying to kill me, picturing pistols spitting hollow points till they drill me. I'm trying to be strong, they're sending armies out to bomb me." So what's funny, well, not funny, but he says armies, right? The men that came after or approached them, they were dressed in army uniform. So that's what the reason why he says that in that song. So he talks about this day, right? That day he ends up, getting up. They take him to the hotel, and there's this iconic photo where there's paparazzis, and they're taking his picture, and he just puts up the middle finger, and he's like all like wrapped up and stuff like that. Yeah. And he's like upset. Yeah, because he's like I don't know who shot me, but like I guess he's just upset with the whole situation. Yeah. Yeah, so he ended up putting the middle finger. That's the iconic photo.
Tell me what happened at the recording studios in Times Square.
I got shot 5 times. I walked in, some dudes walked in and shot me up. Took some jewelry.
Do you know who shot you? No.
No, I don't know who shot me.
So does that mean that you also have no idea why they shot you?
No, I have no idea why they shot me.
Do you think that they shot you just to get your jewelry?
I don't know. It's like anybody's guess. I don't know.
He goes up to the elevator. He ends up, getting shot. And once he got shot, one of his brother-in-law ends up picking him up because he was in in the crew. And he ends up picking him up, and he takes him up to the elevator. And they didn't want to go outside because supposedly there was cops. So they didn't want to go outside because of the whole situation. There was probably illegal substance. We don't know. But he didn't want to go outside. So he ended up going up to the elevator where the floor that they were supposed to be. And as soon as he gets up to the top, he sees Biggie, he sees Diddy, and he sees a whole bunch of other people and Jimmy, right? The person that told him to come there. And that's when he was like, oh my God. And they just looked at him like, what happened? But it didn't seem genuine to Tupac. And that's where he had us a kind of a
aha moment.
not an aha moment, but more of like, I know that Diddy and Biggie was involved because why else would they be here? And they didn't hear gunshot, like they didn't hear me or people shooting downstairs. So why did they come downstairs? Like, why didn't they come and help, or why didn't they come and see? Because they knew I was coming. So if we were cool, they would have come and helped me. So it was just like more of like the things that were going to his head. He was like, nah, Diddy and Biggie had something to do with this. At that time, there was a lot of things going on, right? Tupac had went to jail at one point after his shooting, because in a hotel for the situation that people were stating that he had essayed an underage girl.
Tupac? Oh my.
It's this whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's true or what's not true, but there's that situation, right? Okay. So he does this, he goes to jail. Biggie, at that time when he was in jail, Biggie releases a song and it's called Who Shot Ya?
Who shot ya? Separate the weak from the opsa. Leak hard to creep them Brooklyn streets. It's on, nigga. Fuck all that bickering beef.
And it obviously kind of resembles the situation that happened in the hotel. Yeah, it feels like it would be connected because he don't know who shot him. Tupac does not know who shot him. Gene Deal says in an interview that Puff, he's the one that released the song because Puff Daddy Diddy. So he is basically in charge of releasing music and making sure that he gets out there and stuff like that, like Biggie. And Tupac basically, not that he has no say, but basically Diddy has the last say on what song we're going to release. So supposedly, Gene Deal says that Puff can't stand Tupac, saying Diddy knew what was going to happen. And then he says, Diddy releases the song, they felt they were going to get the attention to build Biggie up.
Pac is shot up. You drop a song, who shot you? You don't think somebody was behind the thing? Yo, if we drop this, it's gonna get a lot of play because everybody gonna think we talking about Pac. That's what people, who didn't think they was talking about Pac? Let the dummy raise his hand first. Because they felt that it was gonna get play. They felt that it was gonna get the attention that it needed to build big up. It was the right time for you talking about money-wise, revenue, the attention it needed. It was the right time for the record label, bruh. The record label make those decisions.
So Diddy supposedly knew what he was doing with releasing the song because he knew that Biggie is going to get the attention, and now everybody's going to be looking at Biggie,
riding the wave,
listening to the song, and then now he's going to be making money, right?
Yeah. They're using the momentum.
Yeah, so I mean, Diddy is a businessman, so it would make sense because he would find anything to get big, like to make the money. Like, he's a businessman, he's smart with it.
Yeah.
So allegedly that's what happened. Gene Deal talks about this, which Gene Deal was really close to Diddy because he always had to be around him.
That's the bodyguard, right?
Yes. So I would kind of believe him a little bit more, only because of the fact that, he was always around Diddy. He was his bodyguard. So being nosy, he's standing there and he's listening to everything.
I wonder why he's saying all these things against Diddy now.
I think it's just because he thought that Diddy did a lot of wrong things and he does not agree with them.
Condone with them, yeah.
So he was like, no, he might as well just release it and be honest, than hold it in and, let him get away with some certain thing. When this song released, this caused a lot of tension between Biggie and Tupac. So this is where their friendship really, really started dying down. and Tupac saw Biggie very, very different. So that song wasn't even made for Tupac. That song was just released at that time because it was, like I said, it was going to catch the attention. So they released the song after he was shot to make it seem like they were talking about him. But allegedly, the song was not made for Tupac. It was written way before Tupac was shot. So Puff marketed the song in that way.
He altered it for the situation.
And it worked. Yes, it worked. So this is where the East and West rapper rivals began. Tupac and Suge Knight. Suge Knight was, another person back in the days. He was really popular. He was also he was a producer. He becomes friends with Suge Knight, and everything is good. But now, allegedly, to get back at Biggie, he goes and sleeps with Biggie's wife.
No way, Tupac.
So allegedly.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I don't know if it could be true, only because.
Oh, it's allegedly.
Well, I don't know because he releases this song.
Yeah. Who, Tupac?
You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fuck for life.
Yeah, so that's basically him confirming that he had sex with his wife.
Damn.
Yeah. So obviously, Biggie was not very happy about the situation, but also Suge Knight ended up hooking up with Diddy's baby mama, allegedly, at that time. So they were like, "Okay, if y'all want to play with us, we'll play with you guys."
Kim?
Too. No. This was Misa Hilton. This was before Kim. So it was the son that he had before Kim. Because you know how you brought a son into the relationship. That was the allegedly Suge Knight has slept with Misa Hilton, which was Diddy's baby mama.
I think I remember her, Misa Hilton. I remember the Hilton.
So later, Tupac made a threat to Bad Boy Entertainment and his enemies, and he said in a song. So this is all in songs, like how you said they kind of use dissing in their songs.
Battling.
So this is what one of his songs said.
Make sure all y'all kids don't grow.
Oh,
right?
Shoot. That's a threat.
Basically insinuating that he's gonna yeah. Allegedly, Puffy, which is Diddy, freaked out about a picture of Suge Knight with his son. So you know how Suge Knight allegedly slept with Misa Hilton?
Yeah.
Well, there was a picture that came out during that time that Suge Knight was allegedly with Misa. Suge Knight was in a picture with Diddy's son. In the same room. I mean, it was just them two in the picture. So Diddy, thinking because of the song that, Tupac released, because, Suge Knight and Tupac are friends, and because of his song that he released, he felt, oh, now they're going to come after my family. So he was like, when he saw that picture, he was like, oh, this is not going to happen. Now they're threatening my son, or they're threatening my family. Yeah. We're not doing that. So he was completely done with that drama, with the drama between the West and the East. So Puffy allegedly talked to Keefe D. So Keefe D was a leader of a gang group and allegedly ordered a hit on Tupac and Suge Knight. Okay? And the reason why we say this is because Keefe D, or why this is being said, is because Keefe D, long story short, he gets arrested, and he states this out to the public. But supposedly then came out that he was just saying things to basically like people, like people were telling him, hey, say this and say this. So allegedly it wasn't true, but we're not sure. So Keefe D states this, that Diddy orders a hit on Tupac and Suge Knight, and allegedly offers him $1 million to Keefe D to do this hit. Yeah. So Tupac and Suge Knight, they end up going to a club, and planned to go somewhere else after the club. And they ended up stating this in a radio show, which worst mistake ever because they were listening. Diddy and Biggie and Keefy D, they were listening, right? So Tupac and Suge Knight, they ended up after the club. They ended up getting in this car. It was a black 1996 BMW 750 IL. Okay, so they get in this car, and they leave the club around 10:55 p.m. and they stop at a red light on Las Vegas Boulevard, right? And they roll down their windows, and this is when they get a picture taken by this photographer. Now, this picture was the last picture that was taken by Tupac. Mm-hmm. So he put, they take this picture, and it's the most iconic picture out there. But it was the last picture of him. But they take that picture, and then they spot these girls next to him, next to their car. And Tupac's like telling them, hey, like, come to the club, like, come to this spot with us, like, we're on our way, blah, blah, blah. And so they ended up driving because the light turns green, and the girls are like kind of behind them or whatever. And Tupac ends up coming up from the sunroof and keeps like hollering at the girls, like, hey, like, come with us, like, we're going to this spot, blah, blah, blah. While they're driving this way, right? This is the girl's car, and this is Tupac. Keefy D, he was in a white Cadillac. He was heading the opposite way. So it wasn't just Keefy D. It was Keefy D, T Brown, Dre, and Orlando. These were the 4 men that were in that white Cadillac that were coming the opposite way of Tupac. Now they saw Tupac on the sunroof, yelling at these girls. So when they saw him, they were like, oh shoot, let's turn around. Like, let's follow them. Supposedly, Keefy D explains this when he goes to jail, that if Tupac wasn't in the sunroof, wasn't standing up, they wouldn't have never seen him. They wouldn't have seen him in that car. They would have kept going. So they ended up making a U-turn at that light because they were going the opposite way. There was that light there. They make a U-turn. Now they're behind the Tupac. Car, yeah. Well, not literally behind him, but because like, there was other cars. Close, yeah. But kind of close, so they try to, like, squeeze their way in. Through. Yeah. So they ended up now at another red light, but now they're next to Tupac, right? And so when this happens, they look at each other. Tupac, Suge Knight, and Keefy D was in the passenger side, and T Brown was in the driver's side. Dre was in the driver backside, the back seat. Left side. Yeah, the left seat. Side, back side. Yeah. And Orlando was on the passenger side, in the back. So, and Tupac was on the passenger seat, and Suge Knight was the driver. Right? So this is Suge Knight, Tupac, T Brown, Keefy D, Dre, and Orlando. Right? So they look at each other. Suge Knight and Tupac look at the other car where Keefy D is at. And allegedly, Tupac ended up reaching under his seat, looking like if he was going to reach for a firearm. And they start shooting at the car. The gunshots came from the left backside, so where Dre was sitting. They shot about 13 times at the car that he was in. So these 13 shots, 3 of them end up hitting the right rear door, and 5 hitting right at the passenger door. The other ones ended up firing. And yeah, strays. Yeah, so there were strays. Suge Knight was glazed with one of the bullets on his head, but he ended up ducking, so that's what saved his life. So if he wouldn't have ducked, he probably would have died. So it kind of just, scratched his head. Yeah. Right? Tupac didn't have the time to duck. So allegedly, he tried to go to the back seat, but he couldn't. He wasn't able to. Allegedly. Suge Knight ended up telling him, he says this in an interview, he ends up telling Tupac, get down, and that's when he gets
Glazed.
glazed by one of the bullets, and he gets down, but Tupac doesn't end up getting down. But allegedly, he ends up trying to get to the back seat, but he don't get to the back seat because it's it's a lot of things are happening. So he ends up getting hit twice in the chest, on the hip once, and on his hand once. So
that hand, he's getting shot in the hand.
I know. So allegedly, later with Keefe D, Tupac fired back. Allegedly, that's why they shot Tupac. That's why they shot their car. But I don't know how much of this is true because Suge Knight ends up telling Tupac, "Hey, get down!" Like they end up shooting out of nowhere, and then he does say that he tries to reach under his seat, but he doesn't get to the point where he starts shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So supposedly, to back himself up, Keefe D, he said that Tupac was shooting at them, and that's what they fired back, as of kind of like in defense. So, but like I said, we don't know how much of that is true.
Mm-hmm.
So, Suge Knight ends up rushing Tupac to the hospital. They were still cracking jokes. Tupac was still he was like, "Oh my God, you got shot in the head." He's like, Suge Knight was like, "Oh my God, you got shot on your chest. Like, don't worry about my head. Like, are you good?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, they were like laughing or whatever. They were like, "Oh my God, we just got shot," or whatever.
My whole thing was, Pac said he was shot. I'm like, "You shot? I'm finna get you to the hospital." I'm driving, telling him I'm finna get you to the hospital, kick back. Pac looked at me and said, "You know what? You need the doctor more than me. You the one shot in your head." And we laughed the whole time going to find our way to the hospital. That's the conversation we had. It wasn't, Pac was a man the whole time. It wasn't that he was like, "Oh, I'm shot." He cracking jokes. He like, "Yeah, they shot me." He said, "But you shot in your head. Look at your head. Your head bleed. Look how much it's bleed." That was Pac. And I'm like, "Man, shut up. I'm gonna get you to the doctor."
So they ended up getting to the hospital. When they get there, they ended up putting him on life support. Tupac. Because of everything that's going on, he's losing a lot of blood. 6 days later, around 4:03 p.m., Tupac was pronounced dead due to respiratory failure and cardio arrest at the age of 25 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So the bullet punctured his lung, and that was where he, had the
blood.
He wasn't able to breathe well enough.
Yeah.
So he punctured his lung, and money was never given to the person, to allegedly Keefe D. Money, that $1 million that supposedly Diddy was going to give him. Yeah, allegedly. He never got the money.
Never received it.
Mm-hmm. So that's what happened with Tupac. So it kind of seems, it kind of seems like Diddy was involved in this situation, allegedly. We're not 100% sure if he actually told Keefe D to
kill him,
to kill Suge Knight and Tupac, but it kind of it fits in the
they had
picture,
drama. Yeah, they had drama and battles.
But Keefe D wasn't the one to shoot the guy. But Keefe D does get arrested for this situation. And Gene Deal does talk about the situation as well. And he says that he heard that it was Dre that shot the gun, which it would only make sense because I painted a picture. It came from his side. Now we're going to move on to Biggie. So after the death of Tupac, he got in a car accident with Little C. Little C was one of his, also a rapper at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Biggie got in an accident.
Biggie, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't mention his name. Biggie ends up getting in an accident after Tupac's death.
Mm-hmm.
And Biggie was in the passenger seat. It was raining and Little C was the driver. He lost control and the car jumped a barricade with Little C's face slamming on the steering wheel. Biggie fractured his leg in 3 places and had to get cut out of the car. So that's how bad the accident was, right? He spent 2 months in rehab, Biggie, and stated he did therapy to be able to keep walking again.
Yeah.
And also, he ended up talking to God. So he ended up getting closer to God.
Yeah.
And he wanted to start changing his life, his ways.
You know what I've noticed?
Hmm.
People do that a lot when they like get in their lowest time. You know, like physical therapy is like pretty hard. Not gonna lie. And people start getting closer to God. Like Hawkeye from Marvel, same thing.
Oh yeah, he got in that
Same
accident
thing.
with the
Yeah.
what was it, a tractor?
The like snowplower
Yes,
tractor
that.
or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And literally same thing.
Really? I
Pretty
didn't
cool
know that.
connection, huh?
That's crazy. Yeah, he got close to God. He was like, yeah, I just started talking to God. I just started praying, and it just wanted to change my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to do that, right? And he felt like also because of the death of Tupac, he felt like, oh, I gotta work on myself. I gotta do better, So on March 9th, 1997, he attended a party with a group. And this also included Diddy and Gene Deal. Gene Deal was at this event this day, right? So they were leaving this party in 2 green 1997 GMC Suburban, right? Diddy was in the passenger seat of the first car. Diddy and Gene Deal were in the second car.
Behind
So
them.
yeah, so Diddy was in the passenger seat and Gene Deal was behind the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
So this day, when they attended this party, Biggie was not supposed to be there. Biggie was supposed to be in London. He was supposed to work on, because at that time he was supposed to release his album, and he was supposed to go to London to promote it. But whenever people would ask Diddy, oh, like, Biggie's gonna be in London, blah blah blah, Diddy was like, no, he's not gonna be in London. He's gonna be here.
He knew.
So he's like, he's not gonna go to London. He's gonna be here. That's also what Gene Deal said. Like, he heard Diddy saying that. Like, every time people would be like, or Biggie would be like, oh, I'm gonna be in London, and then Diddy would come back and be like, oh no, he's not gonna be in London. Also, they had already found out that Biggie, because he wanted to change his life, he wanted to get out of bad boy entertainment and wanted to move on to something else. So there was other people that were offering him a certain amount of money.
Better record deals.
Yeah, a certain amount of money to work with them. So he was planning to move on from Bad Boy Entertainment to go on to something else. And Diddy was not happy about this because of the fact that Biggie was the one that was making him the most money at that time. Mm-hmm. So that is another thing. So just keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. Gene Deal wanted to ride with on the side of the car, just to make sure, because he felt like Biggie was in danger. He felt like something was gonna happen. And the reason why is because that day he told Diddy, someone's gonna die tonight because there's a certain situation that's going on. So, and I'll explain that in a bit.
Who said that?
Gene Deal. And I'll explain that.
And
I'll explain what he says.
Was in the car with Diddy, right?
He was in the car with Diddy.
But who was with Biggie?
Other people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Diddy and Gene Deal were together, and Biggie was in another car, with other people.
So I got a little confused. What did you say? There was the part where Gene wanted to go with knew that somebody's life was in danger. Yes. Somebody's or Biggie's.
He knew that somebody was gonna die tonight.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, and then he had a feeling that it was gonna be Big. I'll explain that in a bit. What Gene Deal talks about and why he felt that way. But I'm gonna just paint you the picture of what happened that day. So, like I said, Biggie was in the passenger seat of the first car, ahead of Diddy and Gene Deal. Okay, They were in the second car. So Gene Deal wanted to ride on the side of the car with his gun to protect Biggie. Allegedly, Diddy said that he wouldn't work for Bad Boy Entertainment ever again if he doesn't get in the car with Diddy.
With Diddy. Diddy needed
yeah. So he was.
Diddy wanted the protection.
not necessarily. He was just saying like, get in the car, like don't do that, like you're doing too much, basically. Like get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So the car, he wanted to ride on the side, like basically outside.
Oh wow.
Outside with his gun just in case. Like if anything happens, he's right there. He could just shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when Diddy was like, get in this car or you're never going to work for Bad Boy Entertainment ever again.
To Biggie's car, right?
He wanted to do that to protect Biggie just in case. Yeah. Because Biggie is the big guy in this group, you know? So the SUV that Biggie was in, it stopped at a light, which Gene Deal and Diddy were not that close to Biggie's car. They were kind of far away from him. And when he gets in the car, he tells when Gene Deal gets in the car, he tells the driver, run these 3 lights. We got to catch up to Biggie. So they ended up like being like a few cars behind Biggie, and they're at a light, and Biggie is in the front. And once they stop at that light, a dark colored car drove right next to him on Biggie's side. The driver rolled down his window, pulled out a blue steel 9mm pistol, firing at the SUV, and 4 bullets were hit Biggie. So, after that situation, they rushed to the hospital performing surgery, but pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. at the age of 24 years old. Wow. So Biggie died that morning. 3 of 4 were not fatal. 3 of the 4 bullets that hit him were not fatal.
One of them was.
One struck his liver, colon, heart, and some of his left lung.
Liver, colon,
heart, and some of his left lung.
Golly, what a shot.
I don't know how it did all that damage, but
I wonder where it
just
had to
one.
come through. From
No, because
underneath?
your colon.
Yeah, but like colon is down here.
I don't know.
Colon, liver, lung,
probably,
and heart.
yeah.
Oh, it probably came down through here. No.
Maybe.
Or
I don't know, but there was one that did it for him.
dang.
One that actually killed him. So Gene Deal talks about the situation on that day because Gene Deal was there.
Yeah.
He's the bodyguard or the ex-bodyguard of Diddy, right? Gene Deal states that week of Biggie's murder, Diddy was acting weird. He was anxious. He was trying to get Biggie to this party. Because, I said he was supposed to be in London, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, supposedly Gene Deal was like noticing that Diddy was so anxious. He was trying to get Biggie. He was trying so hard to get Biggie to this party.
Mm-hmm.
The party of that day on March 9th. Biggie had to be in London that week for his album, and he was telling everyone that he was going to be in London. Biggie, remember? And Diddy allegedly was telling everyone that he wasn't going to be in London. So Gene Deal is at the hotel that day before the murder, and he gets a call for him to get ready that they're going to this Vibe party. Vibe is the magazine, remember? He was confused about going to the party because they didn't have security. It was just him. So he was like, Gene Deal allegedly told Diddy, and he said that someone is going to get killed if we go to this party because they're in Cali, which the West and the East are still like against each other at that point. And the beef is still going on. So Diddy stated Diddy supposedly was like to Gene Deal, don't worry about it. Like, I don't want to hear that. Let's go. Let's go to the party. So they ended up going to the party. After Diddy, so when Biggie got shot and he was taken to the hospital.
I done told everybody in the house, if we go to this party, somebody gonna die tonight. They laughing and joking and thinking it's a joke. I even told Big before we left. Stevie J at that party popping bottles with Puff.
Gene states that Diddy, Puff, ran into the hospital yelling, Gene, we gotta pray, we gotta pray, we gotta pray. And Gene moves his hand off of him and he's like, what do you mean we gotta pray? And that's when Diddy states that Biggie is dead. Mm-hmm. First of all, I thought it was a little bit weird why he would come out and be like, Gene, we gotta pray, we gotta pray. What are you gonna pray for? Like,
he knew that he was
already dead. Yes, that's what he states after he says that. After he asks, why do we have to, after Gene Deal asks, why do we have to pray? Diddy goes, Biggie's dead.
It sounds like it's just made up kind of deal. He just wanted to
Yeah,
cover his tracks.
Yeah, it just feels like, that's, to me, personally,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
mean, it does make kind of sense. Like, because at that point, you're not trying to pray for hope. At that point, you're mourning.
Yeah.
You're not trying to pray for Diddy. I mean, yeah, I guess to go to Biggie, to go to heaven, but like at the same time, it's like you're mourning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's
not
why,
really like hope.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it would have made sense if somebody comes out and was like, oh my God, he's dead. Like, he just died. Like, that would make sense. Instead of coming out and be like, let's pray right now. For what? I mean, I'm sorry, but he just passed.
Yeah, you're mourning. You're not in hope.
If you wanted to pray, you could have prayed before he died for that
for
hope.
the hope, yeah.
So that he wouldn't pass. But
I mean, we're being
point,
harsh judges, though, at the same time. We're being harsh judges.
Yes, but it's just, I know everybody, kind of reacts differently to deaths, but that situation did kind of surprise me.
It was a little odd.
Feel a little bit weird, yeah. So, Gene Deal states that there was no drive-by, that the car was literally right there at the corner, allegedly, was waiting there, allegedly. Seeming like if it was waiting, the story did not seem truthful, like the way it's been told, because Gene Deal was there and he saw the car. So there's a lot of back and forth, right? So this situation happened. Steve J, which is a producer, and Mace, which is a rapper from Bad Boy Entertainment, they were playing basketball one day, and some gang member comes up to them two, and they're like, we want Diddy and we want Biggie. And Steve J, hears this because they're talking to Mace, or they're talking to both of them, but Steve J takes this information and takes it to Diddy and tells Diddy about the situation, allegedly. But he never goes to tell Biggie. So now Diddy knows, allegedly, Diddy knows that they're coming after him, so he's going to do anything to protect himself. But nobody tells Biggie. So
that's
allegedly,
why he wanted Gene to be in his car and not Biggie's car.
I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't really care, like, Biggie, it's about my life, I want my life.
Well, at the end of the day, that Gene Deal was Diddy's bodyguard.
Yeah,
not Biggie's bodyguard.
Exactly.
But still, it's just, if you're wanting to protect your people, especially your artists,
get somebody for.
Yeah, you would have
at least somebody.
That's why Gene Deal was suspicious, because he was like, "There's no security. We don't have security to protect everybody here. It's just me." So that's why he was like a little bit confused. That's what he told Diddy. Someone's gonna die tonight if we go to this party, because this whole situation is happening with the beef between West and the East. And Tupac died, so they're gonna try to kill Biggie because of this whole situation, because they probably think that Biggie was the one that went to go kill Tupac or something, because at that point they didn't know who it was. And so Diddy was like, "Don't, just be quiet. I don't want to hear that."
The week that they were setting up or whatever, that Big got killed, Stevie J and Mace went to a basketball game together. And at that basketball game, those Crips, I think the Dog Pound, pulled them to the side and told both of them that, "Oh, y'all good, man. You understand? It's Puff we want, and it's Big we want." They had that conversation with them cats. Stevie J should have been talking about, he didn't tell Big nothing. He may have told Puff, but he ain't tell Big nothing. And I don't think Mace had a conversation with Big about that. But Mace had a conversation with Puff about it.
So that's what Gene Deal states, right? And Biggie's mom also kind of
Touched it.
so she doesn't like Diddy at all. She hates Diddy. And
Who, Gene's
supposedly
mom?
no, Biggie's mom.
Oh, Biggie's mom.
So Biggie's mom does not like Diddy at all, and supposedly Gene Deal states that she knows who is at fault for Biggie's death.
Mm-hmm.
So if she hates Diddy so much, and she knows who killed Biggie, it would just make sense as to if Diddy was the reason why Biggie died. But allegedly, I mean, we're not 100% sure, you know?
To be honest, is there more or is that it?
That's it. I mean, at that point also, you know, Diddy already knew that Biggie wanted to do his own thing. So at the end of the day, he wasn't really losing. Like, he wasn't gonna lose anything if Biggie were to die, because Biggie was gonna leave him.
I don't think so I don't think Diddy directly did that, but he could have prevented it, but didn't. You know, I mean, he didn't know 100% that was gonna happen, but he knew it was. He didn't know when and where, you know, but he knew that it was going to happen. Better said.
Well, I mean, we don't know if he didn't know when. We just know that there's information that was given. There was information that was given to Diddy by Steve J. Because, you know, they had, you know, this altercation or this situation, this conversation with this current gang member, and stated that he wanted Diddy and Biggie, and he just went to Diddy. They didn't go to Biggie, and Diddy didn't go to Biggie and told him anything. He just did his own thing, and that situation happened. Allegedly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah. So that's the story with Biggie and how Diddy could be connected to Biggie's death. And now we talked about Biggie. We talked about Tupac. Now, there was this other situation at the City College of New York on December 28th, 1991. There was a basketball charity event. You could pay $20 to watch celebrities play basketball. So everybody was super excited, paying $20 to go see a big artist that I love play basketball. Like, they're right there. So the artists that were supposedly going to go to this event was Boyz II Men, Run DMC, Jodeci, Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane. Around 5,000 people showed up. But the max that was allowed in the, what's it called? The gym. The max that was allowed in the gym was less than half of the people that showed up.
2,500.
Yes. So Gene Deal stated that Diddy hired 18 of his guys for security, but then called them back the day before to just bring 8 of the security instead. So, like I said before in the beginning, Diddy was involved. Diddy was the host of this whole event.
Yeah.
Diddy was not famous yet. This was in 1991. Diddy was still working at that other company.
Though?
Huh?
He had a bodyguard?
He had people that he knew. He had, allegedly, at that time, it wasn't his bodyguard, it was just people that he knew. And
Gene was one of them.
And Gene Deal was one of them. Then later on becomes his bodyguard, right? So at that time, in 1991, Diddy was working with Uptown Records. So he didn't have Bad Boy Entertainment yet. So he's still working for Uptown Records. They decided to make this event, this charity event, and invite so many artists. So Diddy was not known yet. Not a lot of people knew who Diddy was. Even like people like reporters or whoever, journalists, they came and they're like, who the heck is Diddy? And why is he the host? But anyways, it worked out really well because, I mean, all these famous artists were coming. Like I said, he asked for 18 security people to come and help out with the event, but then later on asked for only 8. That there was going to be other people that were going to handle, you know, the rest. Gene Deal was, he was in the gym at that time when the event was happening. He was in the gym, but he tells Diddy, hey, Diddy, we got to do something about that door because everybody is waiting outside. There's already people inside, right? There's already people sitting down. But supposedly because there were so many people, they let the people, the max amount of people in. But there's so many people outside wanting to get in. And even the people outside are people that had bought the tickets. So there's people that came in that didn't buy tickets. There's people that came in that did buy tickets. And they like oversold tickets. But then also people were trying to sneak in. So it was like this whole crazy thing. So people that had bought their tickets, that were waiting outside, they were like, oh my God, like we want to get in because we bought tickets. Like it was this whole mess. So Gene Deal goes up to Diddy and was like, hey, like we got to do something about that door. Like there's too many people out there. Somebody's going to die if we don't figure that out because there's just too many people pressing against that door. And that door is the exterior door. Right above the stairs where it goes down to the gym, and there's another door there. There's another set of doors to go into the gym. So when he tells Diddy this, Diddy is like, don't worry about it. The other security is going to, they're going to figure it out. They're going to deal with it. You just stay inside in the gym and you do what you got to do. And he was like, okay. So he does that, right? Mike Tyson and LL Cool J, they were both one of the famous people back then. Yeah. Well, Mike Tyson's not an artist. Mike Tyson, you know who Mike Tyson is, right?
You seen boxer?
Yeah. So Mike Tyson shows up and LL Cool J also shows up. And that's when everybody got crazy. The people outside were trying to get in. They were able to get in. They pushed the doors and they broke the doors open. But once they did that, they started running down the stairs, but the doors of the gym were now closed. So there was this girl that was involved in the team. She ends up getting scared because she sees other people running down the stairs. So she closed the door. That door closes into the gym. Does that make sense? Like it opens out into the hallway to the crowd, but it closes into the gym. So the crowd starts running down the stairs. Now are pushing against that door, but they can't open it because they got to open it this way. So everybody's getting crammed. Everybody in the back doesn't know what's going on because they think that they're about to get in. But they don't know that the doors are locked, so they can't get in. So the people in the front are like, go back, go back. They're not listening. They keep going forward. And so it's like this whole big mess.
World vibes.
Yes. So in that one area, nobody can breathe. Everybody is just on top of each other.
Dang.
Everybody is pushing. Like it just this
getting crushed
whole mess.
and everything.
Everybody's getting crushed.
You don't cut security when security is the most important thing that you gotta have at these places. And that's what he did. He didn't listen. He didn't listen. And I even told him, I said, yo, if the FOIs don't get a barricade away from this door, people gonna die tonight. I told that to him. And what happened? 9 people died that night.
They find this out. They find out that the people from the outside ended up coming inside, right? But they can't open the door because there's people blocking the door and you can't push it open. So they had to come from the other side, try to get people out, but it was just this whole mess. There was just too many people stuck in that spot. So 9 people ended up dying and 29 people ended up injured in that situation. Victims from 15 to 28 years old. And they died of exfoliation because they couldn't breathe. After that happened, they got the doors open, but it was because of the people pushing the doors to the gymnasium.
Oh, really?
They broke. They broke the
door
doors.
broke?
The doors
That's
broke.
how much pressure somebody had to withstand?
Yes. So the door broke and it ends up breaking open. And now they're trying to pull out people. They're trying to pull out people, pulling them into the gym because they're stuck in this one spot, right? So they're trying to pull them into the gym to save them because that's the only way. Because they're pushing this way. They're not pushing up because it's, gravity, right? They're going down the stairs. So that's what happened, right? According to Diddy, he alerted the police that the people were pushing through the doors outside. So this is before they even got in. And supposedly the police just leaves and they don't care.
The police leave?
Allegedly. That's what Diddy
Excuse me.
states, right?
Yeah.
That's what Diddy states. And they come back an hour later, right? That's what
The police?
Yes, allegedly.
Yeah.
It's already too late because the people are already downstairs and they're already getting crushed downstairs, right? Supposedly, when the doors broke, Diddy was trying to help people in. So trying to pull people into the gym and gave allegedly 8 people mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Allegedly, that's what Diddy states. And because people were blaming him for all the deaths and everything that was happening, and he was like, I was trying to save them, I was trying to do my best and doing anything that I could do to get them out, right? Which Gene Deal was there, and he states he did not give them nobody mouth to mouth. Maybe one he tried to save, but he was out there, like out of the gym. He was out of there really fast. That's what Gene Deal states. It was like that's all BS. So I don't know what's true. I don't know if he actually tried to help. I don't know if he actually just, got up and left. Didn't want to be
boy
involved.
A liar, huh?
I don't know. The people blame Diddy, the college, and the police. So Diddy was fired from Uptown Records for this incident and supposedly was on suicide watch.
Diddy was?
Yes, because supposedly he was trying to commit suicide. That's what Gene Deal states in an interview. Those are other deaths that were possibly connected to Diddy. Well, yeah. Another one is Kim Porter. Now, we did talk about her a little bit in part 1. No, was it part 1?
Part 1.
Yeah. So we did talk about her in part 1. But I am going to add a little bit more about her death that kind of seems like if Diddy could
more
be.
evidence.
Yeah, if Diddy could be allegedly connected to Kim Porter's death. So allegedly, her death was not investigated. All of her electronics were missing, and detectives allegedly did not view the bed where she died. And the body was already removed and told the detectives, whoever removed the body, when the detectives came to check the body to see if what condition it was, they allegedly told the detectives that there was no foul play. How can they say that if the detective did not check? Whatever. Yeah. But allegedly, they were told that there was no foul play, but they did not check
the body
themselves. Yeah. So Kim received, allegedly, a massage the day before she was found dead. An hour massage. That's how long the massage she had, right?
Usually a massage, yeah.
And allegedly, that massage was by Diddy. This is what Gene Deal states. Gene Deal states that allegedly there was blood on the pillow and she had bruises, according to a report. Now, I tried to look for this report and to see if I can find where it says that there was blood on the pillow and bruises. I didn't find anything. But it seemed like even Gene Deal was not 100% sure either. He was like, that's what I've heard. So that's, the information that we have.
A little bit more update.
And Gene Deal explains that Diddy had a bodyguard at the funeral home where Kim was buried to watch the body for 24 hours. Meaning that he did not want anyone to dig up the body and look it up, look through it Does that make sense?
Mm.
Like, because detectives were not able to look at her body to see if it was like foul play or anything like that.
That's crazy.
So allegedly, Diddy hired a bodyguard to look over her body in the funeral, where she was buried, for 24 hours so that nobody can come up and dig her up to try to investigate. So supposedly people states that anyone close to Diddy usually die. And allegedly said that Diddy said, I don't care if Biggie dies, if Pac dies, if Suge Knight goes to jail. And that's exactly what happened. And that was before any of that.
Well.
So that's part 3 of the Diddy case and how he could be allegedly connected to all these deaths. To me, it was crazy to research all of this and how much of a connection there was. But I mean, like I said, it's all alleged. Please don't come after me. It's all legend. But yeah, so it was just all mind blowing.
They were pretty cool stories though.
Yeah.
Like all of that, it seemed like, I don't know, Snoop Dogg kind of like touches on it sometimes. And he's like, yeah, it was like real gang stuff going down and this and this and that, and yeah.
Yeah, there was just so much going on back then with the West and the East and then the college and then it was just a lot. It was all crazy stuff. But yeah, so that's part 3. In part 4, we'll talk more about the trial and how it is up to now. And him also almost getting out or getting kicked out of the trial. And then how the sex workers are testifying at the trial as well, etc. More other people as well.
That's gonna be a crazy video.
So yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that episode?
I mean, it's a lot of pretty, like I said, it was a lot of pretty like interesting, I guess not cool, interesting situations that happened and like all the stuff that went down. It felt like real gang stuff in a way. Yeah, it was pretty cool. The school thing, I kind of understand it because. I mean, he was fired. He didn't do a good job. This, that, and he was on suicide watch. Maybe because of all the deaths and he just lost his career. All that stuff, that one I could see. But the other ones, they do seem a little fishy. Kim Porter one definitely looks fishy.
But yeah, that's crazy. I don't know, to be honest. All alleged. I just want to say that. All alleged.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything is real because I don't know nothing. This is all just research, But I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Leave a comment, like, subscribe so you can see the next videos coming out.
And thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the next video.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.